for your local area. Well done. Exactly 40 years ago today, just across the way in Hunters Hill, a group of residents very much like you stood up to the developers and stood up to the appalling development laws that were in place at that time. And that was at a place called Kelly's Bush, where they stood up and started the first of the Green Bans movement to protect a piece of remnant bushland just like this that was precious to them and precious to Sydney. We're now having that fight all over again, because what we're seeing here today is the result of developer-friendly laws being pushed through by an uncaring government, regardless of what the local environmental values are and regardless of a unified local community who is dead set against this kind of development. So well done to you all just for being here today and starting this fight, which you will win. Because when those residents out of Kelly's Bush stood up against the developers 40 years ago, everybody said, you've got the might of the state government against you, you've got the might of the developer lobby against you, you can't win. Well, they did. And I can tell you now, the common sense and decency and the environmental values you all aspire to are all on your side. Now, we have a new state government. And one of the reasons they came to power was because the current development laws here in New South Wales are rotten to the core. They deliver for the developer and they run over the local communities. And when you see your local council of whatever political stripe joining against these kind of development laws, you know that the law is wrong and simply must be changed. Now, when the Department of Planning originally told the council that they were going to rezone this to be multi-unit residential development, the council thought it was insane. And as the Mayor said, thought they just made a mistake, got the wrong side of the road, because nobody in their right mind would rezone this to multi-unit residential when, first of all, your local council has already found all of the additional housing units they're required for the metro strategy in other parts of the municipality. You've done your bit. Secondly, the local council know the local area. They know that there's a beautiful lot of bushland just there. They also know that if it catches fire in a major fire emergency, that it would be a real risk to any intense development here, because the local roads can't efficiently evacuate the numbers that would be required if you got an emergency. The local council know that. The local community know that. They told the Department of Planning that, and the Department of Planning simply ignored them and upzoned it regardless. What a ridiculous state of affairs that has come to be. So we now have a series of development applications looking to chop this up into large-scale multi-unit residential developments. They're sitting before a consent authority called the Joint Regional Planning Panel, one of Labor's cooked-up pro-developer planning panels. And they have said that they have difficulty approving it unless they can deal with the bushfire risk that's down here. So the Department of Planning went and got a consultant's report to look at apparently the traffic issues and the bushland. And what was the main conclusion of the Department of Planning's consultants? Well, they can deal with the bushfire risk by chopping down 85% of the trees in your local bushland. That is not a solution. That is not a solution. Indeed, save our bush. That is a travesty. That is an absolute travesty. We now know that there are two very simple things we're calling upon this new government to do. This new government that's come into power and said that they want to get rid of Labor's rotten pro-development laws. Two simple things that you're asking of them. First of all, sitting on the desk somewhere in the Department of Planning in Brad Hazzard, the new Planning Minister's department, is an application from your local council, supported unanimously by the council, and with strong obvious opinion here, to downzone it, to bring back reality here and get rid of the upzoning. It's sitting there waiting for an initial approval from the Department of Planning. And you all must send that letter today to your local member, to Brad Hazzard and to the Premier saying, prove what you said in the election campaign is true, prove what you said about standing up for these beautiful parts of Sydney, and approve that gateway application this week from your local council. That's the first thing, and do it today. Secondly, that local council are demanding that the Department of Planning get a fresh review of the fire impacts and the traffic impacts, because it is not an answer to say cut down our bush to save the new houses. We need to have a proper consultant's report that really looks at how we can protect this bushland and not destroy it, because there are at least 3 endangered species in that bushland. There are beautiful remnant tracts of literal rainforest in that bushland. And if we do nothing, if we stay silent and we allow the department and the developers to have their way, those threatened species will be lost. That little rainforest will be bulldozed. So we're demanding right now that the department get a fresh consultant's report and look at how to protect that bushland. And if that means downzoning, well then of course that's what we should do before we bulldoze that bushland. An independent report, exactly. So stay united. Remember, residents just like you, ordinary people, save Kelly's Bush. The Green Band save the rocks. You will win this fight. You've got a wonderfully united council. You've got a united community. All the best of luck for you. And let's say to Barry, let's say to Brad, unscramble the omelette. Let's save our precious bushland. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, David Shoebridge. That was just a wonderful speech and very